Hey everyone, welcome back. The recent Deadpool movie with Hugh Jackman reprising his role as Wolverine was, to many people, a really good film, a masterpiece, some might say. To me, it wasn't. I thought it's a decent action Marvel action flick. It's got some good choreography. Would I would I watch it again? I probably wouldn't. But look, that's just me. Anyhow, the point is, in relation to this particular movie, one of the, I think, most anticipated scenes was the fight between Wolverine and Sabretooth. Well, this particular incarnation of Sabretooth, played by this particular actor, who, of course, hadn't reprised his Sabretooth role since the original X-Men movie in the early 2000s. Um, I think a lot of people went to the cinema just to watch that fight. I know for me it was going to be a pretty big deal. And of course, what happened was that, spoiler alert for anyone, I would be seriously surprised if anyone listening in hasn't already seen the Deadpool movie. Anyway, if you haven't, spoiler alert. Sabretooth gets killed very, very quickly into the fight. Sabretooth runs at Wolverine, Wolverine runs at Sabretooth, and the claws are popped, and a swing later, and Sabretooth's head is rolling on the ground. And I thought to myself, this is it. This is what they have reduced Sabretooth to in the MCU. It's a joke. It's a complete joke. Now, there should have been a little bit more choreography. There should have been a little bit more of an extended fight scene. I think that would have done the character justice. And because there wasn't, because it was such a joke, it got me thinking, how many times has Marvel treated Sabretooth as, I don't know, a bit of a running gag? Considering his power set, considering all that he's able to do, the fact that he gets beaten so quickly in so many instances, to me, it just never made sense. In many respects, Sabretooth is like a stronger, bigger, faster, I suppose superior in many respects version of Wolverine. And yet, the way that he is treated in certain comic books, as compared to Logan, it's like night and day. The difference couldn't be more stark. And it's funny because he has, like I mentioned, he's got those physical attributes which make him more formidable than Logan himself. He's also got a better healing factor because he's not burdened by the adamantium. Wolverine's healing factor is compromised. Just imagine how much. Well, it's compromised because he's fighting with the adamantium that's already in his body. Just imagine how quicker he would heal if it wasn't there. Now, Creed, aka Sabretooth, doesn't have the adamantium, which means his healing is a lot more accelerated. And so that's already an advantage that he has over Logan. Now, taking all of these things into consideration, you would imagine that he would be just as much a respected and feared character as Logan is. But no, many times in various comic books, he has been shown to be a complete and utter bloody nincompoop, incompetent fighter, mediocre at best. And he's been bested by so many characters throughout the years that you begin to wonder what's the big deal. Until, of course, you sit down and you talk about the various attributes of Sabretooth, which on paper are extremely, extremely impressive. Now, one example where he's been treated bad, in my opinion, is Power Man and Iron Fist issue number 84. I mean, you have to admit, it looks like Sabretooth is, he's about to cry. He's in a situation he can't get out of. He's in the schoolyard, the bully's coming up and smacking him around, and he's just holding back those tears. He's holding them back. Any moment now, the floodgates are gonna open, and this image right here says to me that the weeping is about to begin. Now, I won't I won't lie. The way that he was manhandled by Luke Cage, I mean, you know, just literally treated like he's nothing. It made me a little angry. It made me angry because you have to look at what character it is that you're meting out such humiliation upon. Sabretooth is a bona fide, visceral, feral killer. Got to give him some respect. And yet, in this issue, Luke comes very close to killing him by just strangling him. He just won't let go. His grip on Sabretooth is so tight that he won't let go until he's finished the job. And if it were not for the actions of Iron Fist coming forward to stop his partner from effectively murdering Sabretooth, then we would have no more beautiful tales of Sabretooth torturing Wolverine. It would be the end. I mean, actually, this comic book is very interesting. It sort of like sets out the fact just how weak Sabretooth really is in the great scheme of things, which I completely disagree with. If you look at the power set that this character has, it just doesn't make sense. And number two, the fact that it is okay for certain heroes to have murderous streaks sometimes. I mean, look, I'm being a little unfair. Sabretooth has obviously caused a lot of grief, and Luke Cage, Power Man, is clearly upset. But this guy is serious. He wants to kill him, and it just goes to show, there's a fine line between hero and villain sometimes. Anyone can snap, but the point is that as a hero, you shouldn't be snapping. That's the whole point. That's why characters like Batman and Daredevil are so endearing, because they do not cross a line. Anyhow, that's another topic. But yeah, just Sabretooth. Poor. You got to feel sorry for the guy, and that's not the emotion that you should be having when talking about a character like Sabretooth. Now, moving forward, when I saw the cover of Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man issue 116, I was I was impressed. Number one, I think it's a great cover. It really shows. Uh, I think it shows Sabretooth in the best light possible, giving Spider-Man a lot of grief and looking mean as hell. I was very excited to open the pages and to see a true battle royale. But of course, like so many things in life, you don't always get what you think you're going to get. And this issue, unfortunately, was no different. Now, the fight in this comic book between Sabretooth and Spider-Man, it's not epic by any means. Sabretooth, to be fair, does manage to get a scratch in here and there, so that was something. It's not that I was rooting for the villain, but I do like Sabretooth. So when he scratched him, I was like, yay, good for you, Sabretooth. But of course, no, we in the end, being good citizens, we always root for the superhero. But it's the way that this fight ended that really peed me off. Spider-Man webs his face. Sabretooth pulls off the webbing from his face and apparently pulls his face off. Now, number one, guys, number one, that panel with Sabretooth, his face having red streaks, that's not pulling his face off. It's not. I can see his face, right? So the notion of his, you know, being in absolute pain, having pulled his face off, utter nonsense. Don't agree with that at all. Number two, the notion that Sabretooth has to be taken to hospital for treatment. Oh my God, really? This is Sabretooth with a healing factor, which by now I think had been established, right? That's the whole shtick with these characters. Wolverine, Sabretooth, they're unkillable almost. They have this, they can fix themselves out of anything. Lost arm, don't worry. Grow back a new one. But apparently, this little injury, this little, it's a plaster injury. For God's sakes, come on! His face would have grown back in a few seconds. Uh, but anyway, this is how they decided to end the fight in this particular comic, and I thought to myself, this is just, again, it's just humiliating. They're just using this fantastic character of Sabretooth with a cool costume, amazing claws, amazing strength, amazing, this feral sort of ferocity, and wasted, absolutely wasted. Let's move on to issue 98 of Marvel Comics Presents, wherein there lies a tale of Werewolf by Night versus Sabretooth. No prizes for guessing who wins the fight, but let's run through the motions. Our poor, misguided Sabretooth decides to get a little frisky with a stripper, I understand, outside of a bar. And who follows behind him? Jack Russell, the werewolf by night. Of course, he's there to save the day, or the evening rather. And at first, of course, Sabretooth dismisses him until Jack Russell turns into the werewolf. And of course, when Jack does turn into the werewolf, he basically manhandles Sabretooth like, like he's a baby. I mean, he might as well be wearing a tutu and a tiara and sort of ballet dancing for all the good that his powers do him. I mean, okay, the werewolf has these large claws and these fangs and a healing factor. So does Sabretooth. But this fight is so one sided. It's so ridiculously one sided that, look, he's being manhandled here like a little pup. I mean, there's nothing that he can do against. He looks, if you look at the panel, Sabretooth looks in a panic. He looks scared. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. If this was Logan, if the werewolf was fighting Wolverine, excuse me, I genuinely believe that the fight would be epic. And also, even if the werewolf was stronger, right, more vicious, etc., there's no way that you'd see Wolverine with this look of sheer panic or fear or things like that. It just wouldn't be there. These expressions of angst are not befitting a character like Sabretooth. I've said it before. I'll say it again. And yet the writers and the artists seem to belittle him at any given chance. At the end of the day, if you look at what Sabretooth represents, he's like a ferocious, feral, visceral, unstoppable force of nature, really, right? He's like what would happen if you put a sort of vampire, werewolf, zombie, sort of, uncontrollable, enraged Wolverine, mash them all together. What would you get? You'd get Sabretooth, a guy who has little, if no, conscience at all, who's driven by bloodlust, who is meaner and stronger than one of the most feared characters in Marvel, which is Wolverine, right? Sabretooth is worse in terms of what he does than Wolverine is. And yet, and let's not forget that when he fights Wolverine, and Wolverine is one of the best fighters in the Marvel universe, right? But when he fights Wolverine, he usually gets the upper hand. But for some reason, when he fights everybody else, he just seems to get his ass whooped, and that's a really weird inconsistency. I just never understood that with Marvel. The sheer amazingness that you can achieve with a character like Sabretooth if you just employ him correctly. It's I mean, really, there's no limits. I think that Sabretooth could be a more compelling, a cooler character, in fact, as a villain or an anti-villain, or anti-hero rather, than Venom, if you really, really give him the proper respect that he's due. Is he going to get it? Well, maybe, maybe not. I mean, with we began with Deadpool's rendition of Sabretooth and how easily he was vanquished by Logan. If this is the way that things are going to be progressing in the near future, I don't see any real scope for improvement in Sabretooth's depiction, either on screen or in the comic books. Which again is a shame because I think he's a great character, and it's always a shame when great characters are either underutilized or perhaps utilized in the wrong way. Sabretooth can be really, really feared. He can be the stuff of legends, if only he's given, the proper direction to follow, which at the moment he isn't, or at least he wasn't in relation to the examples I've given. If I've missed something where he is genuinely like this feared badass character who can hold his own against anyone, then do correct me and let me know in the comments. But if not, then let's hope for the best and see where the Marvel universe takes us. And that's my ramble over for today, folks. Thanks for joining. Catch you later.